It's been a bit scary, but I think I'm actually kind of embracing the growth now. I just think there's great opportunities.
Hi again, my name is Raymond Chow from EO Malaysia, and I'm your host for the EO APAC podcast. It's called Sustaining APAC. Join me as we listen to EO members all across APAC as we talk to them on how are they getting through these times, how they have possibly innovated their businesses, and how they're spending time alone or with their families at home. Now, these are truly unprecedented times, right? As many countries in APAC has practiced a full or semi-home lockdown, and most of us are having to stay put and stay in the comfort of our own homes. There's one thing I cannot imagine that's happening today in every home, where husbands, wives, and kids are spending 24 hours in the house. Are they tearing the house down? Are they driving each other up the wall? Are they finding new ways to be creative? I don't know, but we're about to find out. So today we travel to Sydney to talk to Bronwyn Taylor, significant life partner in EO since 1997. Wow, that's 23 years. She's married to husband James Taylor from EO Sydney, which business is in ANC, Australia's wide logistics business, and has two wonderful kids, a daughter named Phoebe and Ben, right? So one daughter, one son. Awesome, a good balance. All right. Hi, Bron.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast and talking to me about your life as an SLP during these difficult times.
Well, time of opportunity, I think. Opportunity to redefine, put it that way.
Cool. So this, for me, it's what I've noticed in the last, so we've been in kind of a home lockdown for the last 3 weeks, and we have another 2 weeks to go. And I think you have probably seen the same thing. Our laundry is full with t-shirt and shorts only. We've saved money on makeup, right? We are all about to apply for a slot in the next MasterChef Australia, right?
Yes.
Because we have all been cooking amazing meals every day. So what do you think about the whole situation as an SLP?
Well, there's a couple of things. I actually went into lockdown a little bit earlier because we were traveling overseas, and I kind of came home and went into lockdown by myself. Because
you came here from Canada, right?
Yeah, so we were overseas on our family holiday. I came home early, actually, to go to the Sydney University, which didn't take place, which was
okay.
So basically, one thing I can say is that all those Facebook kind of jokes about, you know, how terrible it is to go into lockdown with your family, it's so much better than alone. So, I mean, the kind of isolation thing alone gives you a lot of opportunity to go down very scary rabbit holes of too much information and too much social media.
Yeah.
So one thing I am finding is that the opportunity to have everyone in one spot as an SLP is kind of a gift, because I rarely get to see, well, I don't really know my husband as a business person. I get the home person, I don't get the business person. So it's kind of an opportunity to see how he interacts, how he responds to this kind of situation, his leadership style, which is actually, you know, we've been married for 32 years. So that's kind of a really big eye-opener for me. My kids are actually a lot older. So our kids moved out maybe 5 years ago. So the opportunity to have my daughter at home is kind of a gift.
Oh, wow.
Just to see how she's kind of responding to the fact that she's now unemployed. And, you know, she had this fabulous career just beginning, which is now kind of in hiatus. So I'm kind of looking at it as an opportunity to look inward rather than outward, because outward's a bit scary at the moment. So I'm looking at it as an opportunity to kind of just be curious about me and how I'm coping and how the family's coping.
Okay.
The situation.
So let's talk about you for a minute. So you mentioned that you just came back from Canada.
Yep.
You were quarantined for, how many days were you quarantined for?
So I literally came in, had a week before the other guys came home. So then we've been in absolute quarantine for 3 weeks. And this is now we're in kind of self-quarantine like everyone else, like in lockdown. So it's been 4 weeks now, 4.5 weeks.
And what was that experience for you?
The first kind of couple, as I said, the first week alone was just surreal. And just really felt like the sands were kind of moving every day, because we were waking up to another kind of, changing environment. And it's funny, I think actually now as the time's gone on, I don't like to say the new normal, but it's kind of a little less stressful now that we're getting into a routine of being at home all together. So you can kind of put some things in place that I want to keep doing, like not a really strict routine, but exercising every day. Like even if it's a bit of yoga or watching my daughter do her stretching routine, which is awesome, which I'm copying, getting outside, doing a bit of gardening, playing with the dogs, just a little bit of that. But also some time just to kind of not talk about this. We've kind of made a routine that for an hour in the afternoon, we don't talk about the virus at all. So we kind of plan what we want to do afterwards, where we want to go, aspirations for things we want to see when we can actually travel again, stuff like that. And I really want to start, I've always wanted to do the painted picture thing, which some EOers, have had kind of some coachings at a few universities and stuff. And I've always wanted to do it, but we never seem to all sit down. And so it's a great opportunity to kind of go, okay, an hour every day, we're going to paint the next year. And then the year after that, So in a way, it's kind of it's been a bit scary, but I think I'm actually kind of embracing the growth now. I just think there's great opportunities to get really, set relationships on a different way, strengthen relationships. I kind of feel like we've had a lot of, and I know a lot of EOs in other chapters are feeling this. We've got some EO friends who've just completely lost their business, which is devastating, and, trying to work out ways to support them. And then we've got friends whose business has gone through the roof because, they're virtual or they're in logistics or, and so I think just kind of the opportunity to kind of rethink and just work out what people need and how to respond to it.
Yeah. So, you mentioned this word growth earlier, right?
Yeah.
And you also mentioned the word looking inside. Right?
Yeah.
So as an SLP, and just like you, I'm coming to terms with this concept of new norm. Right? So for you now in this so-called new norm, what does growth mean to you? Or what is this concept of growth mindset now for you?
Well, for me, I think I want to kind of reset. The last kind of, obviously because our kids are bigger, we've been kind of, doing a lot of running around, a lot of kind of traveling because, we're free, kind of, but not really. Yeah. And it kind of gives me an opportunity to not look outward anymore, but to kind of, I just want to be really curious about what I can learn, what I can gain from the opportunity to stop and just look at what we have and how our relationships are and whether we can strengthen them. Like I did the couples conversation with Caddy and Jamie Duragi the other day, which was an EO webinar. It was awesome. So, James and I are doing tomorrow, doing our strengths as a couple, which is great. Like anything any opportunity we can use in this environment to grow and to adapt and just be a bit more creative. I love the opportunity, the idea that Michael Kripalani from EO San Diego, I think it's on the EO Together, the microsite, the thought that kind of Isaac Newton came up with the theory of gravity when he was in isolation. I mean, I'm not setting the bar too high, but I just figure, if we can all do something, either adapt our business or adapt ourselves or strengthen our relationships or, just do something positive out of this would be awesome. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
I feel that a lot of us are going through a lot of change, and change is something that we all should be used to, especially as EO members and SLPs of EO members. I think we go through a lot of change, but I feel that the speed of change now has rapidly increased, right?
Yeah.
And we have to make a lot of decisions. But I think one thing that strikes me of what you said is that now it is really the velocity to change now to change our relationships and change the way that we look at life, change the way that we look at even the outside, right? I think a lot of us in the past always had this idealism that, we have to change, we have to strike a work and life balance, but we never made that as a priority. And now we have no choice but to make it a priority.
Yeah. And also I think it gives us a great time to kind of redefine what's really important to us, that internal thing. So, just the opportunity to spend time together without kind of the white noise, because, there's always something to do outside, but the opportunity to kind of spend time and look at, how we interact as a family, what's important to us as a family, especially, for me, my kids are older, so they've kind of gone, but, the opportunity to actually define what that looks like is a great kind of a reset. And I think also as a society, the opportunity to look at it with give ourselves a little bit of time and a little bit of compassion and empathy, because it's as you said, the panic that you feel about the pace of change. I think all of us kind of deserve to give our families and ourselves and our communities the opportunity to be kind and compassionate, because we are all in it together. We were saying before, I feel like the whole world has been shown that there's not much difference amongst us, and we're all going through this together, and how can we leverage that to make ourselves and our families and our communities a better place.
So how has the days changed for you now?
Oh, okay. So the days are a lot more.
if I'm allowed to pry a little bit.
Yeah, well, kind of this here is my space usually. So now I've got other people in my space who have other needs and other, especially with technology, very intense needs. So it's changed a little bit in that respect. I think also, normally I would do my own thing. And I was speaking to a couple of friends, I never knew it would take me 2 hours to answer WhatsApps. It's just like, you just feel like the WhatsApp is huge because we can't kind of just go and see someone. So I feel like it's really important to stay connected with friends and family. And also, a lot of my business at the moment is EO. So I'm doing a lot of kind of trying to connect and trying to work out, what the best way to support the people that I love. So a lot of that takes up a lot of the day, as well as, trying to fit in some fun, even trying to do my meditation in the morning without having a dog sit on top of me or and also I've got plenty of time now to get out my to-do list so that James Taylor is home. So that quick 20 minutes between phone calls, I can get him outside and get him on a ladder. So that's James.
I've been averaging about 6 to 8 video calls a day, right? And I think it's the notion that now we're at home. We don't have to be in a car traveling from one location to another. So we want to try and maximize our times. And, I was just talking to a friend and we came up with this term that I think we're all turning into zombies, right? So we're all turning into zombies, Walking Dead, zombies all the time, right? So it's really, really very different for us.
But also, do you find like when you get off these calls, I just want to get outside. Like I want to get away from the computer. Whereas, before I would be sitting in front of the computer answering emails, or I could let, 6 hours go by and not move. Whereas when you're actually doing these calls, they're actually quite intensely tiring.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to get out and do something else.
Yeah. So, okay. So I wanted to just get your sharing from a SLP perspective, right?
Yeah.
So what is the one biggest take home, or what have you learned now being an SLP in the experience so far? Just to share with, I'm sure there are other EO SLPs that is going through this together with you. But what has been your experience?
I think it's the reset. It's just the slowing down. I think it's the chance to actually, as I said before, just define what's really important for us as a family. As I know my husband's business is, he's defined in such a fast-paced situation where change is happening so quickly.
Yeah.
It gives you an opportunity to be quite creative. That you're forced to. I've been quite slack in the sense that I kind of sold my business a couple of years ago, and I've been kind of like, oh, now you've got all this time, and and then time gets away, and it's kind of like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? So it gives you time to kind of internalize, what's important, what my purpose is, what makes me happy. So that's personally for me. I know a lot of my friends, EO friends who've got small children, it's all about becoming the homeschool professional, which I'm not sure everyone wanted to do.
Yes.
I think that's actually a good wake-up call. That, the people that we really value in our society should be doctors and teachers, and rather than Kim Kardashian and those kind of people. I kind of feel like maybe the world's had a chance to kind of go, this is actually what's important. To us. Yeah.
So obviously this reset was not expected, and I think we have this time to reflect and kind of just maybe set a new plan. Yeah. So looking at what's happening now, and let's fast forward this hopefully in a month's time, when we all recover from this situation, the lockdowns are lifted. What do you personally feel then from an SLP perspective would be what you want as your new norm with your relationships or so on?
Look, I'm thinking, personally, I think the way I think about James and his business has changed. I've had the opportunity to see him under a lot of pressure, and it's kind of, I don't know whether, I think it was on Facebook, there was or maybe it was a Twitter feed that I saw that, was this whole kind of, who is this? I'm going to kind of put my blah, blah hat on, or, it's all that kind of, you see your partner in a different light. Because, normally James is away from 7 till 7 or 8 at night. I don't see that hat. And I think there's an understanding that I've gained from how the business fits into our life. Because, in the past it's been, okay, that's what you do. This is what I do at home, or with my own business, or, these are our separate, hats, and then we come together on the weekend and we have a great time, and then we all go off and do our own thing. But the fact that we're now all in this together, I think I'm going to look at the role that EO plays in our life, and what great resources there are, and how the business has enriched our lives, and just have a very real appreciation for how we can leverage the great things in our life and grow them, and just, that sounds very, very esoteric, but let's hope I do. I think we will.
I think we will. I think I believe that, because like I was mentioning, we were having a quick chat before the call. And I was mentioning, right, this is the one single topic that unites everybody in the whole entire world. And that is really very magical, right? Everyone in the world can relate and talk about this one single thing. Right?
Exactly.
And I believe if we are really going through this together, then that is one of the ways that we can all embrace this new change or this new way that we're going to move forward to. And I think that's essential.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think also for what I've discovered, because I've been doing, some work with EO for about 5 years now. And I mean, before that, EO had enriched our lives lots of different ways. There were great universities, we found mentors for our children through EO friends and stuff like that. And I think what's really been brought home to me in this environment is the fact that EO as an organisation, even though it is for the members, it has the potential to support the support systems of the members, and how important, SLPs and families now are in nurturing that whole business person. Because as just even looking at some of our EO friends who are having a really tough time, I would be so upset, I think, if someone managed to save their business but lose their marriage, just because of this situation. And I think the opportunity we have is, like, literally, as you said, everyone can relate, especially about homeschooling and the fact that we don't have, however big the house is, there's not enough space, or how small the house is, and how, it is a give and a take, and it is a opportunity for learning about each other.
So I guess, Bron, the last question that I wanted to ask you today in our podcast is, you're doing a lot of great work as an SLP expert in APAC, and you mentioned about resources. So perhaps what does that involve, and how can we help other SLPs in EO to go through this, and what support system do we have?
Okay, so there's quite a few support systems that have been put in place. I'm hugely proud of APAC for coming up with this open same page situation. A lot of the other regions, they all have a similar situation, but APAC has kind of led the way. We've actually got a whole section for APAC families. And so what's great about the open same page is that you don't need a login. You can, once you have the link, you can go in and you can find those resources. So if you've got some SLPs who, for some reason or other, they're not trained, they haven't been forum trained, or they're not in forum, or they don't have a limited access profile, they can still go in and access these great resources. And what we'd love, I'm helping with the APAC one, certainly. We've actually set up a Gmail email address. So we would love to know what you want, because for me, I feel like there's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of information coming in, all of it great, but it's really hard to kind of filter out what you need and what you don't. So APAC's kind of tried to very, sorry, I've got the sun coming in now. The APAC tried to kind of, very concisely work out different sections, so that there's, sections for kids entertainment, there's sections for, showing everyone what a fabulous master chef you are. So sections for couples conversations, webinars that have been recorded. So that will allow us to, allow you to go online and do some really kind of concise, squirreling around to find what resources you need. Okay. So if you can give that Gmail, so it's basically eoapacfamilies@gmail.com. Okay. And we monitor that regularly. So what I'd love is that anyone who really wants to see a resource or needs something as an SLP, or families, if you want some more information about homeschooling, or some, some sneaky tips to get the kids to sit down, let us know, because I'm sure we can find it.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
Awesome. So for our viewers and listeners, just to repeat that, so it's EOAPAC Families, EOAPAC, all lowercase. So EOAPAC FAMILIES at gmail.com.
Yeah. And it's on, if you go onto that same page link, and look at that, it's right down at the bottom. So,
okay.
So awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bron, for speaking to me today. We all joke about this line of happy wife, happy life. But I really see that significant life partners are really an integral part of EO, because there's also so much to learn, right? And we all learn so much from SLPs ourselves as EO members. And we really, a lot of us feel that, without the SLPs being there, there's just this one gap that we don't get to learn from. So thank you so much for speaking to me today and sharing your experience about staying at home.
Thank you.
Take
care.
Okay, so that's it for today's episode. Join me for the next one, and do subscribe to the EO APAC podcast that's themed Sustaining APAC, as we go through different stories of how everyone in APAC is experiencing it themselves. So everyone, please have a great EO APAC day, and remember, we're all in this together.